call out a narcissist. God says do this instead. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're diving into something powerful, something that can transform the way you navigate challenges and people who seem impossible to deal with. We all know someone who thrives on their ego, someone who can't handle criticism, someone who makes every moment about them. But let me tell you, calling them out won't fix them. It won't free you. There's a higher way, God's way. And when you tap into this wisdom, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Let's paint a picture. You confront them hoping for an apology, understanding, or change. What happens? Deflection, gaslighting, maybe even retaliation. You feel drained, defeated. So what's the answer? It's not confrontation, it's transformation, yours. You don't fight ego with ego. You rise above it with grace, strategy, and inner strength. Here's the truth. God doesn't call us to be victims or punching bags. He calls us to rise, to influence, to conquer, not by might, but by wisdom, love, and boundaries. When you do it His way, you win not by overpowering others, but by mastering yourself. So let's break it down. Let's step into that power right here, right now. Detach to empower yourself. First, let me ask you, who's in control of your emotions right now? Is it you, or is it the person who keeps pushing your buttons? The moment you allow someone else to dictate how you feel, you give away your power. Detachment isn't about ignoring people or being passive. It's about reclaiming your peace. It's about saying, I will not let someone else's chaos dictate my destiny. Think about it. When you're emotionally tied to someone's behavior, they have you on a string like a puppet. Every word they say, every action they take pulls at you, and you react, you fume, you stew. But here's the thing. Your reactions aren't hurting them. They're imprisoning you. Detachment is cutting those strings and standing in your power. But detachment doesn't mean indifference. It's not cold-hearted or selfish. It's understanding that you're no longer going to pour your energy into things you can't control. You're not shutting them out. You're stepping into a higher version of yourself where their actions don't define your state of mind. You've got to take a step back, literally. When emotions flare up, breathe, pause. Don't let their negativity pull you into their storm. They want a reaction, it fuels them. Deny them the satisfaction. Instead, choose stillness. Detachment starts with mastering the pause. Now, detaching doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you don't let their disrespect live rent-free in your mind. You become like water, fluid, adaptable, unstoppable. Water doesn't resist obstacles, it flows around them. That's what you're going to do. You'll stop fighting their behavior and start flowing toward your peace. Picture this, you're standing in the middle of chaos, and instead of fighting back, you stand tall, calm, unshaken. That's detachment. It's not running away, it's standing firm, anchored in your own truth. You're not ignoring the storm, you're rising above it. Every time you practice detachment, you're training your mind to focus on what matters, your growth, your purpose, your peace. You're not just avoiding conflict, you're rewiring your brain to prioritize the things that lift you up instead of dragging you down. Now, here's a tough truth. Some people won't understand your detachment. They'll call you cold, distant, or even selfish. But guess what? That's their narrative, not yours. You don't need their understanding. You need your freedom. And detachment is the path to that freedom. When you detach, you're not giving up on the relationship. You're redefining it. You're saying, I refuse to let this dynamic hurt me anymore. That's power. That's wisdom. That's self-love. Detachment also gives you clarity. When you're no longer caught in the whirlwind of emotions, you can see things for what they really are. You're no longer blinded by their words or actions. You're focused, clear, and in control. Here's the truth. People will test you. They'll try to push your limits. But when you've mastered detachment, their efforts fall flat. It's like try to move a mountain. It doesn't work. And that's what you're becoming, unshakable. So, are you ready to step into that power? Are you ready to take back control? Detachment isn't just a strategy. It's a superpower. And once you master it, there's no going back. You'll look at situations that used to break you and realize they no longer have that hold over you. Every time you choose detachment, you're choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and freedom over bondage. That's the kind of person you're becoming. someone who doesn't just survive the storm, but rises above it, stronger and more powerful than ever. Set boundaries without guilt. Let's talk about boundaries, those invisible lines that when drawn protect your energy and peace. Too often we think boundaries are harsh, that they're walls that push people away. But I'm here to tell you boundaries are your shield. They're not barriers. They're protections. They allow you to say, I honor myself, and I will not accept less than I deserve. Think about it. What do you feel when someone disrespects your time or energy? Frustration? Anger? It's because you're not honoring your own boundaries. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's you saying, I'm worthy of love, kindness, and respect. You must cultivate the courage to declare what you will and will not accept. Here's the kicker. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about controlling your environment. You can't force someone to change their behavior, but you can choose how you respond. When you set clear, healthy boundaries, you empower yourself to navigate relationships with strength and grace. Imagine walking into a room filled with negativity. You feel the heaviness in the air. Instead of absorbing it, you stand firm in your boundaries. You've already decided how much of that energy you're willing to take on, and you refuse to go beyond it. That's strength. Now let's talk about the guilt that often comes with setting boundaries. Why do we feel guilty for wanting respect? It's time to flip the script. You are not responsible for how others react to your boundaries. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. You're not doing anything wrong by prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. When you set a boundary, it's like planting a flag. You're saying, this is my space, and I will protect it. It's not about pushing people away. It's about creating a safe space for you to thrive. Remember, a strong tree stands tall because its roots are deep. Your boundaries are those roots. You may encounter resistance. People might push back, question your intentions, or even try to guilt you into submission. But stay strong. You are not here to please everyone. Your priority is to nurture your own growth, to honor your own needs. You can love someone and still maintain a boundary. Practice makes perfect. The more you set and enforce boundaries, the more confident you become. Start small if you need to. Maybe it's about saying no to an invitation that drains you, or carving out time in your schedule for self-care. Each time you honor your boundaries, you reinforce the message. I am worthy of respect. Remember that boundaries are flexible. They can be adjusted as needed. Just because you set a boundary doesn't mean it's set in stone. As you grow, your needs might change. Keep the lines of communication open with those around you. Share your boundaries with love and clarity. The beauty of boundaries is that they foster healthier relationships. When you communicate what you need, it encourages others to do the same. It creates an environment of honesty, respect, and mutual understanding. Boundaries invite openness, not hostility. So embrace the practice of setting boundaries without guilt. You're not being selfish, you're being self-aware. You're not closing doors, you're ensuring the doors that are open lead to a safe space. When you set boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're cultivating a life filled with peace and empowerment. Every time you honor your boundaries, you're taking a step toward a life of authenticity and fulfillment. It's not about being harsh, it's about being clear, kind, and firm. Stand tall in your truth and watch how it transforms your life and the lives of those around you. Don't seek validation from them. Let's get real about validation. We live in a world where we often seek approval from others, especially from those who may not have our best interests at heart. But let me tell you, your worth is not defined by their opinions. Your value comes from within, and it's time to reclaim that power. Every time you look to someone else for validation, you hand them the keys to your self-esteem. You become dependent on their approval for your happiness. But what happens when they don't give it? You feel lost, anxious, and unworthy. It's a dangerous game to play. You have to break that cycle. Picture yourself standing on a solid foundation. That foundation is built on self-love and acceptance. When you're rooted in who you are, outside opinions become background noise. You can listen without letting it affect your self-worth. That's strength. You need to ask yourself, who defines your values? Is it the loud voices of critics or the gentle whispers of your inner self? Your true self knows your worth. It recognizes your strengths, your unique gifts, and your journey. When you tune into that voice, you become unstoppable. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to impress others. We tailor our words, our actions, and even our dreams to gain approval. But let's flip that script. Instead of chasing after their validation, pursue your passions, your truth, and your purpose. When you align with your true self, the need for external validation fades away. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, looking deep into your own eyes. You are enough. You are worthy. You are capable. You don't need anyone else to tell you that. You already know it in your core. That's where true power lies, in self-acceptance and authenticity. Now let's talk about the naysayers, the ones who don't see your potential, who underestimate you. They don't hold the power to define your journey unless you let them. Choose to surround yourself with those who lift you up, who see your brilliance, and who encourage your growth. You can honor feedback without tying your worth to it. Listen with an open mind, but let your self-esteem be rooted in your own experiences and achievements. When you receive constructive criticism, use it to grow, not to question your value. That's the mark of true strength. And here's a powerful truth. When you stop seeking validation from others, you become a magnet for positivity. You attract relationships that are built on respect and genuine connection. People are drawn to those who are confident and self-assured. Your light shines brighter when you stand in your truth. But remember, this journey takes practice. It's not an overnight transformation. Each day, take intentional steps to affirm your worth. Write down your achievements, your strengths, and your dreams. Celebrate your uniqueness. The more you acknowledge your own value, the less you'll seek it from others. So, let's commit to a life free from the shackles of validation seeking. You don't need their approval, you need your own. Stand tall in your authenticity and watch how your confidence transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. You were born to shine, and it's time to let that light illuminate the world. Choose grace over confrontation. Let's explore the power of grace. In a world filled with conflict and chaos, grace is your secret weapon. It's not about being passive or avoiding tough conversations. It's about handling situations with dignity and composure. When faced with a narcissist, the instinct might be to confront, to fight back. But what if I told you that choosing grace can be your ultimate strength? Imagine being in a heated discussion where emotions are running high. The other person is aggressive, defensive, and unwilling to listen. What do? You have a choice. You can engage in the battle of egos, or you can rise above it. Choosing grace means refusing to play their game. It's about maintaining your poise, your calm, and your respect. When you choose grace, you're not condoning their behavior. You're refusing to let it define your reaction. You maintain your integrity while navigating the storm. This doesn't mean you ignore your feelings. It means you choose a more powerful response. Instead of retaliation, offer understanding. Instead of anger, choose empathy. Picture yourself as a lighthouse in the storm. The waves of negativity crash around you, but you remain steady. You're shining your light, guiding others through the chaos. That's the essence of grace. You're not just protecting yourself, you're creating a safe space for others, even those who may not deserve it. Grace is rooted in compassion. When you understand that a narcissist's behavior often stems from their insecurities and fears, it allows you to respond differently. You see them not as a foe, but as someone struggling with their own demons. That perspective shifts everything. Now, let's be clear. Choosing grace doesn't mean you tolerate mistreatment. It means you rise above it. You set clear boundaries and communicate assertively while still holding space for your own emotions. You refuse to engage in drama, instead opting for clarity and respect. When you respond with grace, you disarm the situation. You take away their power to provoke you. You become the calm in their storm, and that's a powerful position to be in. You're not just reacting, you're responding thoughtfully. You've mastered the art of emotional intelligence. It's not always easy. There will be moments when you feel the urge to lash out or retaliate, but in those moments, pause, breathe. Remember that your grace is a reflection of your strength, and that strength is what sets you apart. You have the ability to choose how you respond, no matter how others behave. Grace also allows for healing. When you handle difficult situations with dignity, it paves the way for resolution and understanding. It opens doors for constructive conversations rather than perpetuating cycles of conflict. You become a catalyst for change. When you embody grace, you inspire others to do the same. You model behavior that encourages empathy and understanding. Imagine the ripple effect of grace in your relationships, in your community, and beyond. You become a beacon of light, showing others that there's a better way to navigate conflict. So let's commit to choosing grace over confrontation. When faced with challenges, let's respond with compassion, clarity, and strength. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes the most powerful choice is to simply stand tall in your truth and let your grace shine through. Be strategic, not reactive. Let's talk about strategy. Life is not just a series of reactions. It's a journey filled with choices. When dealing with difficult individuals, especially narcissists, being strategic is key to maintaining your peace and power. The moment you react emotionally, you surrender control. But when you respond with strategy, you regain that control and set the stage for positive outcomes. Think about it. Every time you react impulsively, you're allowing the other person to dictate the narrative. They push your buttons and you respond, often leading to chaos and misunderstandings. Instead, imagine taking a step back, assessing the situation, and crafting a thoughtful response. That's strategy in action. The first step to being strategic is to understand the dynamics at play. Recognize their patterns. What triggers them? What strategies do they use to manipulate or provoke? Once you identify these patterns, you can navigate interactions with intention. You become aware of their tactics, and that knowledge empowers you. Now, this doesn't mean you become calculating or cold. Strategy is about being mindful and purposeful in your approach. You're not here to play games. You're here to foster understanding and respect. It is about responding thoughtfully rather than reacting emotionally. When faced with a difficult conversation, take a moment to breathe and ground yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in this interaction? What's the best way to express my thoughts without escalating the situation? This mindset shifts you from a reactive stance to a proactive one. Being strategic also means choosing your battles wisely. Not every conflict is worth your energy. Some situations don't require a response at all. You have the power to decide where you invest your time and emotions. By picking your battles, you can serve your energy for what truly matters. Now, let's explore the art of communication. When you engage with a narcissist, clear communication is essential. Use I statements to express your feelings without assigning blame. Instead of saying you always, try I feel frustrated when. This shifts the focus from accusations to personal feelings, creating an opening for dialogue. Don't forget to practice active listening. Often narcissists just want to be heard. When you listen attentively, you disarm their defensiveness. They may respond differently when they feel acknowledged. Even if their behavior is still challenging, this approach creates a foundation for more constructive conversations. In addition, be aware of your body language. Nonverbal cues can convey more than words. Stand tall, maintain eye contact, and project confidence. When you embody strength, it reinforces your message and shows that you're in control of the situation. Being strategic also means taking care of yourself. Engage in self-care practices that ground you and keep you centered. This way, when you face challenging interactions, you come from a place of strength rather than vulnerability. You'll be ready to respond strategically instead of reacting impulsively. Remember, strategy is a muscle that grows with practice. Each time you choose to respond thoughtfully, you reinforce your ability to navigate difficult relationships with grace and strength. You become a master of your own narrative, and that's a powerful position to be in. So let's commit to being strategic, not reactive. When faced with challenges, pause, breathe, and assess the situation. You have the power to shape your responses, create positive interactions, and protect your peace. Embrace your strategy and watch how it transforms your life. Pray for them, release them. Let's talk about the transformative power of prayer and release. When dealing with difficult individuals, especially narcissists, it's easy to become consumed by anger, frustration, or resentment. But holding on to those feelings only weighs you down. Instead, let's explore the liberating practice of praying for them and then releasing them from your heart. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents your negative feelings towards someone. The longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. Now picture yourself taking off that backpack, setting it down, and feeling the weight lift. That's what prayer and release can do for you. Prayer is a powerful act. It's not about condoning their behavior. It's about seeking peace for yourself. When you pray for them, you're sending out positive energy, even if they don't deserve it. You're choosing to rise above negativity and extend compassion, which ultimately frees your heart from the burden of resentment. In your prayers, you might express your feelings honestly. You don't have to sugarcoat it. God, I'm struggling with anger toward this person. Help me find peace. Allow yourself to feel the weight of those emotions in your prayer. Acknowledge the hurt, the frustration, and the challenge. But then shift your focus. Ask for guidance and understanding, both for them and for yourself. When you pray for someone, you're also inviting perspective. You begin to see them through a lens of compassion rather than judgment. Understand that their behavior often stems from their own pain and insecurities. This realization doesn't excuse their actions, but it helps you find empathy in your heart. Now comes the release. This is the moment of liberation. Once you've prayed for them, let go of the emotional ties. Release the anger, the hurt, the desire for revenge. This doesn't mean you forget or tolerate their behavior. It means you refuse to let it control your emotions any longer. You are reclaiming your power. You can visualize this release. Picture the negative emotions as clouds floating in the sky. In your mind, you can watch them drift away, becoming smaller and smaller until they disappear altogether. Feel the lightness that comes with this release. You're no longer weighed down by resentment. You're free to move forward with peace in your heart. Remember, this is a process. It may take time and repetition. Each time you feel anger or frustration creeping back in, return to your prayer practice. Reaffirm your intention to release those negative feelings. You're not only freeing yourself, you're choosing a path of healing and growth. As you practice this, you'll notice a shift. You'll find it easier to engage with that person without the weight of anger. You'll feel more centered, more compassionate, and more at peace. Your heart will be lighter, and your spirit will soar. In essence, praying for someone doesn't make them your friend. It makes you the architect of your own freedom. You're choosing to live without the burden of negativity. This practice empowers you to rise above the chaos and create a life filled with peace and joy. So let's commit to the practice of prayer and release. Whenever you find yourself struggling with difficult individuals, take a moment to pray for them. Acknowledge your feelings, seek guidance, and then release those emotions. This powerful practice will transform your heart and your life. Focus on your growth. Let's delve into the vital importance of focusing on your growth. In a world filled with distractions and negativity, it's easy to lose sight of your own journey, but I'm here to remind you that your growth is your primary responsibility. It's time to prioritize your development and become the best version of yourself.